Dear students, in this video what we are going to do, we are going to just revise the 8th standard lesson, geography. First lesson we studied about resources. Any substance or object that satisfy a need is called a resource. Utility or usability is what makes them as a resource. All resources have a value or worth. Some have economical values while others do not. However, some resources can become economically valuable with time. Meanwhile, resources are generally classified into natural, human-made and human resources. Then, next one, chapter 2, natural land, soil, water, natural vegetation and wildlife resources. Usually the land, types of soil and the water available in the region influence the lifestyle of the people living in a place. Land, soil, water are the most important abiotic resources, whereas natural vegetation and wildlife resources comes under biotic resources. Meanwhile, be it a biotic or abiotic resources, both are exhaustible in nature. Hence, there has to be a judicial use of these resources for enhancing the longevity. Then third lesson, minerals and the power resources. Since India has a varied geological structure, the country is enriched with a rich variety of mineral resources. A naturally occurring substance with a definite chemical composition is called a mineral. The mineral is not evenly distributed over a space but is scattered throughout the earth's rocky crust. There are about 3,000 different minerals. Minerals are classified mainly as metallic or non-metallic minerals on the base of composition. Then fourth lesson we studied about agriculture. Agriculture is a primary activity that consists of growing crops, fruits, vegetables, flowers and rearing livestock. Accounting for 23% of GDP and it employed 59% of the country's total workforce in 2016. Nearly 70% of the rural households still depend primarily on agriculture for their livelihood, with 82% of farmers being small and marginal. As per the union budget, the Ministry of Agriculture has been allotted rupees 1,30,485 crore for the year 2019 and 20. The budgetary estimate in 114% higher than that of 2018 and 19 at rupees 57,600 crores, primarily due to rupees 75,000 crore allocation to PM Kisan. Students can Then fifth lesson. Industry refers to an economical activity dealing with the manufacture of goods, extraction of minerals or provision of services. Meanwhile, industries can also be classified on the basis of raw materials, size and ownership. Indian industrial sector includes manufacturing, mining, electricity, construction. Following the economical crisis in 2008, Indian industrial sector showed considerable recovery and steady growth for 3 years. To know more about the classification of industries and factors affecting the location of the industries, we want to refer textbook. Then sixth lesson, nature, that is the human resource. Nature's bounty became significant only when people, the nation's greatest resource, find it useful. It is peoples with their demands and abilities that turn them into resources. For this reason, human resource is the ultimate resource, but it is not equally distributed over the world. They differ in their educational level, age and sex. Their number and characteristics also keep changing, that we already studied again in sixth lesson of geography in 9th standard. This is all about the lessons what we studied in, means geography lessons what we studied in 8th standard. We will continue with other some information in this same video. Again we studied in 7th standard geography. First lesson it was environment. We studied about again ecosystem and other things. Then second lesson we studied about inside the earth, the crust and the mantle, like that parts we studied. our changing earth, how it is changing, how the relief features it is forming or it is submerging, like that things we studied. Then fourth lesson we studied about air, the circulation of air and wind and other things. Then fifth lesson we studied about water resources, that is the drainage, what we studied in 9th standard. That basic things we studied in 7th standard. Natural vegetation and wildlife, this only I said already, we studied in 7th standard. The same thing what we studied in 9th, but not in this much detail. Then human environment, settlement, transportation and communication, that you are going to study in 10th standard detail, transportation, communication, like that things. Then human environment, interaction with the tropical and subtropical region, area wise means the evergreen forest, like that things we studied. The Amazon basin we studied, Ganga Brahmaputra basin we studied in this lesson. Then 9th lesson, life in desert, we studied about Sahara desert, that is the hot desert, and we studied about Ladakh, that is the cold desert. That is the lessons what we studied in 7th standard. Then in 6th standard we studied about the earth and the solar system. We studied about the name of the planets and the satellite, like that things. Then the globe, latitude and longitude, we studied the what it means, globe, and how we are identifying the time, like that things we studied. Then chapter 3, motion of the earth, how the earth is moving, means revolution and rotation, that thing we studied. The next one, map, how we are drawing maps, what all the things we want to take care, distance, symbols, like that things we studied in that lesson, map. And types of maps, we studied about the political maps and the thematic map, like that things. Then comes the major domains of the earth, means the continents, we studied different continents, and the oceans, like that things we studied. And 6th lesson, major landforms of the earth, we studied about the landforms, means the this mountains, then plateaus, plains, like that things we studied in 6th standard. That same thing we are repeating again in 9th and 10th in detail way. 6, 7, 8 classes we studied in small, means very less information, and 9th and 10th we are getting more information. Then in this we studied about all the rivers what we are studied in 3rd lesson. Then we studied about our country India, that is the same chapter. Little more informations are there in 9th standard, 1st lesson of geography. And the same thing only we are studying in 6th standard. Then comes Indian climate, vegetation and wildlife, what we studied the 4th and 5th lesson together, it is given as a 8th lesson in 6th standard. This is all about the geography of 6, 7, 8th standard. Why I am saying like this? This is the base for your 10th standard again. 9th we studied, including 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 together. If you are understanding this one very easily, you can capture the lessons of 10th standard. Okay, then okay, we'll continue another some important points. And we studied in 6th standard history what, where and how and when. That is again we are going to repeat the same in 7th standard also. Little bit information we will get, and what happened, when, where it happened, how it happened and when it happened, means how we are making the periods in the history. It is the modern period or ancient period or the Paleolithic age, like that means the periodization, we can say that how we are making the periods of the history, that and in which period what happened, where it happened, like that things. Then from hunting, gathering to growing food, people was in the starting, people was hunters and gatherers. Slowly they started to settle somewhere and started to grow, means the started to crop things. They are started to grow crops for food items like grains and other things. Then 3rd chapter we are studying the earliest cities. We have studied about the Janpadas and Mahajanpadas and where it started, Mohenjo-daro, Harappan civilization, like that things we are studying in 3rd lesson. Then chapter 4, what books and burials tells us, from where we are getting the information about the history, that from the books what written in the olden days as well as the burials of the ground, means the fossils, they are giving information to us. Then 5th chapter we studied about kingdom, kings and an early republic. What was the ruling style of Indian subcontinent? 6-7 classes we are studying Indian subcontinent, that is the now it is different countries. We can see that one, it is starting from Afghanistan, then Pakistan, then India, then Nepal, Burma, even Bangladesh, then Indonesia, up to the, it was that much big area that it altogether we was calling it Indian subcontinent according to the 6th and 7th standard history. So what type of kings was here, how they was, like that things we are studying in the 5th lesson. 6th lesson, new questions and ideas, how the new religions are starting, like Buddhism or Jainism, like that things we studied in 6th standard. Then 7th standard, Ashoka the emperor who give up war. We are studying about how Ashoka got influence on the Buddhism, or what happened after Kalinga war, that we are studying in this lesson. And he become the one of the supporter as well as the what we can say, preacher of Buddhism. He sent his disciple to all means even to Africa on the, in that time. It is in the early centuries. Then the vital villages, thriving towns. Slowly the villages that is developing like a small towns. The 9th lesson we are studying traders, kings and the pilgrims. How the traders influencing the kings, and how the pilgrims they are, came from China or Japan, even from European countries, how they reached here, and what afterwards what happened, like that. The new empire and the kingdom, how the new kingdoms are starting or new empires are starting, how the they are becoming the small kingdoms was there, how it is becoming a bigger one, that we are seeing in 10th lesson. 11th lesson, building, paintings and books. What was the early information we are getting from the buildings, paintings and books, from who written and where we getting, like that information we are getting in 11th lesson. Okay, we are concluding here because already 10 minutes over. I know you people are not that much interested because you got the information about your final exam. So you are preparing well, I think. So read the lessons very carefully. Then last week exam, same the class test portion, history, 3rd chapter for this week also. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.